introduction of us. Hi everyone. Today we would like to present our paper, which is Virtual Reality Assurance, Assuring Immersive Experiences. So, as we know, there's a lot of tech happening in the emerging field, and one of such emerging tech is virtual reality. It is a very niche field for many of us, but as we progress, quality assurance in this aspect, in this technology, would be a very challenging task. So we would like to make it a bit easier with the kind of strategies that we have implemented, and with the approach that we took. We are going to share our knowledge on this part. So coming to the structure of this entire session, it would be as such. The flow would be, firstly we'll try to have an introduction to the virtual reality, what it is, and how any beginner could try to understand the virtual reality, as it's an emerging tech. And then we'll talk about the need, like why are we trying to assure this technology. There are a lot many technologies that are present right now, but what's the market involved in this, and why are we aiming at this market. And then we'll try to see the various use cases that we come across with this technology, and how this could be assured. And we'll also talk about the development and ecosystem of the virtual reality as a whole, and then followed by the challenges that we generally face when we try to quality assure this kind of technologies. And then finally, Rishabh would be presenting the framework and solution that we came up with, and that we hope is going to be a game changer in assuring this kind of technology. So let's start with the introduction to virtual reality. So, what is virtual reality? Well, as the name suggests, it's a concatenation of the words virtual and reality. So, virtual reality is nothing but it's the use of computer generated imagery to simulate a world around you. Uh, you are going to simulate a reality which isn't natural, it's going to be virtual. Uh, you might have been introduced to such technologies already, but the main aim of this virtual reality would be that you will have the power to bend and mend the realities. So you could be any avatar you want to be, you could be any person you want to be, you could play any kind of games which are not so sensitive to in the real world, but you could be a action hero in virtual reality space. So unlike traditional technologies, right, this virtual reality helps us bring the user into the experience instead of bringing the experience to the user. So the difference between bringing user to the experience and experience to the user is that the technology, let's say the computer technology that we are using right now, it brings the experience to the user. Like experience of the internet is coming to the user, but in case of virtual reality, the user is being fed into a virtual world where the experience is ready, waiting to happen. So you could in a snap, you could teleport to a stadium, you could watch a whole match at the comfort of your home, which is a really big plus to this kind of virtual reality technology. And also, this virtual reality is possible only because of the interactions that these virtual characters do with the simulated virtual environment. So as you can see this Jeff, right, it showcases an avatar of virtual hands that the person is able to control with handheld devices called haptics. And he is using this HMD, uh, head mounted device, which will give him the perspective of entering this virtual world. So he's able to interact with this virtual guns. These aren't present in the room, they are computer generated imagery, but he's having the experience of holding the guns, shooting it, playing with it, and so on. So this is a basic understanding of what virtual reality stands for. Let's understand the market involved for this technology. So coming to the market stats, uh, let's talk about the estimated growth. is this really an emerging tech, or is this a well established tech that we are talking about? So as you can see, this is a really niche technology that we have. And uh, uh, as you can see the stats over here, right? It has a 6.1 billion US dollars grow market by 2020, and it is expected to reach 20.9 billion US dollars by 2025. So this is a huge step for this technology. It's going to be a massive revolution with big players like Meta, HTC, and many others like Microsoft coming into the picture for this technology and pitching in their ideas. There's going to be a huge estimated growth of this market. And currently we already have about 171 million users. Those have at least consumed this technology once in their lifetime. So with already 171 million users to target, you can really expect your market to boom really soon. And the anticipated growth, the cumulative annual growth rate of this market is estimated to be 27.9% in between 2022 to 2025. See, pandemic uh, made humans restricted to their homes, but this technology is teleporting them without having to move an inch from their home. That's the specialty of this technology, and that's why there's a huge market in this kind of technology. So talking about the market size now, it has a 4.8 billion US dollars market as of 2022, despite this pandemic situation. And the gaming market, which is a huge sector within the virtual reality, it has a size of 1.4 billion US dollars out of this 4.8 billion. So you could plan to push your quality assurance in this market of this technology. And then coming to the hardware, so unlike your typical software technologies that you come across, this is an integration of software and hardware. So it is a device dependent and environment dependent technology. So hardware, the head mounted gears that we talked about, the haptics that we are using to communicate with the simulated environment, right? This is also a huge space. It also has a great potential to assure its quality. So Sony right now is leading the market with 43% of their total virtual devices being shipped, uh, with a cumulative annual growth of 27.9% in between 2022 to expected 2025. And then the virtual headset unit, that is the head mounted gear, uh, the device that you have in front of your eyes to simulate the environment. This market alone holds a 6 million US dollars market as of 2022. And then not just the hardware and not just these stats, we could also talk about a regional stats, focusing mainly on the United States. So we have 57.4 million users uh, only from this continent, the United States country of uh, the Northern America continent, right? So that's how huge the market is spread. And one among five in United States has already tried virtual reality. So you could really expect this numbers to push to 3 or 4 by the end of 2024. These are the stats that we talk about when we talk about the virtual reality space. So yes, let's talk about the VR use cases. Now we know the market that's involved. We know the what this virtual reality stands for and how it is an emerging tech. But is this technology limited to a certain industry, or is it spread across? Let's try to find out. So this virtual reality use cases, there are a ton of use cases. We have tried to list down few. So the first one would be automotive industry, followed by healthcare, retail, tourism, real estate, architecture, learning and development, and many more use cases are to follow. So talking about the automotive industry, uh, what what makes you wonder the virtual reality is being implemented in this automotive industry? It's the engineering and design aspects of the this industry that's feeding this virtual reality tech into their implementations. So it's really a costly affair when it comes to prototyping a whole new car, and then when you find out that the design has few flaws, and there's some engineering or technical difficulties in acquiring the efficiency that you require for the automotive, it is going to be a huge burden on the company itself. But imagine uh, test riding an entire car that you designed and engineered on a virtual space. So you will have all the dashboard effects, you will have the steering in your hand, everything. But the thing is, you are not going to prototype it. You are going to prototype it virtually, and you are going to try on this automobile through the help of virtual reality tech. So this is how there's a huge demand of virtual reality in automotive industry. And then coming to healthcare, recently we came across this COVID pandemic, and uh, many of the studies or learnings started happening from the home. Even the work started happening from the home. But the problem is, some of the degrees that you have to acquire, right? They need a physical touch or a physical training to happen. You can't expect a doctor to learn something theoretically and put it into action after he attains a degree. But virtual reality helps reduce this distance. So the students or the training professionals could enter a virtual operation theater. They could perform their surgeries on a virtual avatar without the dangers or without the problems being faced in real time. So even if your patient doesn't survive the operation that you performed in your training, it wouldn't lead to a loss of a life or something like that. And also, when you talk about this chemical industries, the pharmaceutical industries, they keep on trying different combination of chemicals, the reactions that happen, and they want to study the uh, after effects of combining two chemicals. All this could happen within the virtual reality space. You could have a metal, let's say iron, you could have some other metal, hydrogen. You could try to combine these in virtual space, and you could get the stats of the reaction that's happening in real time. So this is the use case that's in the healthcare. And talking about the retail is a really immense market that is already established. To say, many companies like H&M, even a few other companies like Nike, Puma, they have started using virtual reality to body scan your typical customer that enters a store, right? They're going to body scan them. They are going to create a virtual avatar, and they are going to you could they could eliminate the entire trial room experience, and they could have a virtual room experience wherein they can try on different virtual jackets. They could try on different outfits and see if it fits, right? The entire ratio of the apparels is very proportionalized to the real time apparels, so there won't be any case of misfits or anything. And this also prevents us from sharing the bacteria that we generally have in the trial rooms. So this is one of the use cases of virtual reality in the retail space. And coming to tourism, have you ever wandered out to some unknown space, and were you struggling to get the directions, or were you struggling to find a guide that can help you with the virtual tour? Then virtual reality tech could have an answer to this problem as well. So in your home, you could have a setup of Taj Mahal. You could start exploring the entire Taj Mahal without having to move an inch. You will also have the stats or the history related details of the memorial. You could have the entire specs in front of your eyes, and you could have a virtual tour uh, from the comfort of your home. That's how this virtual reality space has been expanding. So tourism is also being restricted a lot due to this pandemic, and virtual reality was an answer to this, as it provided the tourism experience from the comfort of your home. And then coming to the real estate, we have seen a huge surge in this market recently. The real estate is booming across the nations, and with this virtual reality tech, right, you could provide your a customer with a virtual tour of the entire site that you are going to showcase. You could show them the interior tours as well. You could ask them for the changes that they require in the site, and all this could be done with the help of this virtual reality tech. And moving on to the engineering aspect of this real estate, right, architecture is one of a uh, really good field that supports this real estate from the back end. So uh, interior designing comes with a lot of ask from the clients, and making the changes and having to face the misfits later is a huge deal in this field. But with the help of virtual reality, you could have a try on of the wall color you want. You could have a try on of the fall ceiling that you are asking for, and all this could be simulated in real time using this virtual reality technology. And it also gives a sense of technical advancement to the client, which is a huge plus. And then learning and development, as we talked earlier in the healthcare scenario, right, it's not just the healthcare. You could even train army professionals using this virtual reality. This has been happening across nations. Many of the armies, navies, and air forces involved, they are practicing the simulators on this virtual reality space. They are trying to train themselves on how to fly aircrafts, on how to battle out of very tough war situations, right? So this all comes handy in the real time, and this is being possible without any injuries and casualties through this virtual reality technology. And then there are many more possibilities. The limitation is your mind. If you have this percept of this virtual reality, right, you could spread across various industries. It could be entertainment, sports, arts, social media, events, and meetings. In fact, you could have this entire conference that we are attending right now in the virtual space as well, with live interactions happening between the avatars of the speakers and the listeners. So that's how this technology is trending right now. And then coming to the development and ecosystem. So you might be wondering, with uh, a lot of use cases uh, concatenated with this virtual reality tech, right, the development and ecosystem is going to be complex, and that's really true. The development and ecosystem is not as simple as your other applications, right? So this development happens across layers. So we try to put the layers that really matter to us. So we'll try to find out the discovery and design tools that are involved in this virtual reality development. So this discovery and design tools, these are nothing but the models or the rigs that you will be implementing to achieve the simulated environment in the virtual reality space. So you will need some prefabs or animation rigs. For this, you may need to import some models, or you may need to create some models which will serve as the buttons or triggers for you to access the virtual reality space. And similarly, you even have the action class development. So this talks about the software part involved behind the models. So how are you going to send information for to the virtual avatar to move his or her hand while you move the hand in real time, right? So the frameworks behind this, the libraries behind this, all these parts come under the action class development. And then finally we have the hardware. So bringing in this interaction between real world and the virtual world, right? The hardware is really crucial. Many studies have proved that the higher ownership of the virtual avatar, right, it is going to create a higher immersive experience to the user. And that's the spot that we are trying to aim. We are trying to bring in much more immersive experience to the user by assuring the integration is seamless between all the three development phases. So let's talk about these in detail. So the ecosystem involved in the development of virtual reality, right? So it contains a lot many app elements. So virtual reality is not your typical 2D video game. So it's going to be a 3D space. So it will need some animation, right? It will need some 3D models. It will need some audio to give the immersive experience to the user. It will also need scripts and textures happening behind the scenes to give the sort of uh, reality feeling in the virtual space. So all these animation 3D models, audios that we are talking about, right, they are available for free on few stores, few asset stores that such as Unity Asset Store, Sketchfabs, and ITCHIO, right? So on these stores you could import already built models if those are useful for your development, your virtual reality app development, right? You could import them. You could either pay for a few of those models which are premium and you could get those models. But what if you have to build your virtual reality from scratch? So then you are going to be dependent on app creation platforms, app element creation platforms such as Blender, Maya, or AR Core, right? So these are going to help you create the 3D model as such. They are going to help you provide the texture. They are going to help you with the libraries that you need to integrate the virtual space with the real time. So apart from these, when we talk about the headgear, we have limitless market in this space as well. We already have very top market players in this space like Oculus, HTC Vive, Samsung, Microsoft, Google, and Shift all coming into the picture for this head mounted gears. Not just the head mounted gears, we also have to keep in mind the haptics that are involved in virtual reality, right? You could have your haptic suits, haptic gloves, or uh, head mounted gear markers, detection trackers that help you to move in this virtual space. So this is also part of the ecosystem that's involved in this virtual reality. So you will have to choose your headgear uh, uh, aptly based on the users that you're targeting and based on the uh, use case that you are going to go with, and also the animation rigs you are going to provide. So these are all interconnected, and most importantly you need to choose a perfect development platform that follows the use case that you're trying to provide, right? So there are many development platforms right now for this virtual reality tech. One of the leading development platforms is Unity, and then followed by Unreal Engine, and also now Amazon is into the picture for this development platform, right? So these provide you with SDKs and toolkits such as Daydream, OpenVR, Oculus, Vuforia, AR Core, and ARKit. These SDKs available in this development platforms are going to help you to integrate the animation part with the scripts that you have developed for the action class to happen. So this is how the VR ecosystem is going to be. And I hope you now have a clear idea on what virtual reality is, what the market size involved is, and the various use cases it can help us achieve, right? And also, I hope we are good with the development and ecosystem of the virtual reality as well. Now, let's go to the real issue. We have such a complex integrated structure around this virtual reality tech, and how are we going to test it? What layer is the layer that you have to target to achieve the entire uh, quality assurance of this technology? So uh, before that, let's try to find out what are the challenges that we come across, right? For assuring the quality of this technology, right? So there are many more challenges, but we try to list out the five crucial testing challenges that we come across during the virtual reality assurance, right? So the first one is testing every app element. So we have seen that the ecosystem consists of a lot of app elements involved in creating a single efficient VR app. So these app elements such as music, animation, action buttons, body scan, haptics, all these needs to be seamlessly integrated, and for that you will need to have a seamless testing across all these app elements. And this is a crucial challenge that we'll have to face. We'll have to provide uh, assurance across all the app elements that are there. And then after you uh, test, or after you assure the quality assurance across each app element, you will have to also test the end application, the whole end application. So that is also a challenge. And then, as you know, the virtual reality is a environment and device dependent technology, so you need to assure the hardware part and the software part as well, not just the software app elements that you come across, but also the hardware part as well. And because of all this complexity involved, it's highly manual and really time consuming. This is also a challenge that many solution companies face during this testing phase of virtual reality. And then we have huge regression efforts that we'll have to put in for quality assurance of this technology. So having understood all these challenges involved in testing, and what this virtual reality is, I leave the session to Rishabh. He's going to present the solution that we came up with, and the strategies that we took to ensure the quality assurance.
Sure, sure, Vaidik. Um, Thank you for sharing all the information about VR and how VR works and how it is developed and what are the challenges. So we already saw it is not a simple application which have a front end and a back end. It is built with lots of elements. So also there are a lot of challenges while testing. So for that we have created a VR test automation framework which will cover all of that challenges we have just talked about. So moving forward, I will be explaining the basic overview of the architecture of our framework and then the framework benefits. So the architecture is it is a Python based framework which is built using the robot framework, which will be helping in creating reports or log files. What this framework will do, it will access your development platform from the backend and will perform all the test shoots, all the test cases on your development platform, and will run all of the operation on that. For example, clicking any button or checking all the elements if it is visible to the user or not. And then at the end, it will create your HTML reports and your log files so that you can see if your test scripts and test runs have successfully run or not. So the basic framework benefits are so the topmost benefit is it will not require your headset or any haptic suit. Without this, you can test your application with the automation framework. So the second benefit is it is compatible with every VR headset or developer platform. For example, if you are building your application with a STC headset or a Oculus headset, it will work with that, and also with every developer tool like CryEngine or Unity, it will work with all of that. And suppose you have any the second third framework benefit is, suppose you have any enterprise automation suites already, so it is a pluggable framework. You can easily plug our framework to your already created automation suites, and it will run smoothly with all of that. So also it helps in achieving much faster regression testing. So that's also a basic major benefit of this framework. Then we have the reusable navigation and assertion libraries for this in this our framework. For you can navigate to a different rooms or different scenes. You can navigate with this framework, or you can assert every scene or any icon bars or every element. You can assert all of these object using our framework. And also it has a continuous based integration execution. Moving on to the next part, other than the automation testing and functional testing, it offers us the non-functional testing as well. But it will do it. It will when you will be running your VR application for a particular time period, it will read all the data from the sensors of your headset, and will create the graphical representation of all the sensors. For example, CPU, GPU, free memory, FPS, all of that. It will take record all of the data while when you will be using your application, and will give us the VR NFT metrics as you can see in this image. So now moving on to the demo part. Yeah. Now moving on to the demo part. Let me open the video only. So in the on the screen you can see we have built a VR application using Unity editor. In this we have built a basic application in which the user in a room, and he will be seeing three buttons. After clicking first button, he can live stream any match which is going on, and the second button, when he click, he will be entering in a second room which in which he can see any pre-recorded matches. Or the third button is if he is at home and he want to buy any items, by sitting at the home, he can click on that button and order anything. So what we are doing is we are from the robot framework, we are accessing this Unity with the alt Unity tester tool. Here we can see there is a alt Unity tester window which is waiting to connect to any alt Unity client. So when we run this from our PyCharm, in which we have all the test cases and test script written. Here I am running the first test case in which I am running the first test scenario in which we have the three test cases written, which will check if the three buttons are working fine or not, and the player is redirecting to the correct room or not, and all the elements present in the room is visible to the user or not. So I have ran this first test case. So here this green box is removed, so we can see that it is connected to our test scripts. And now it will try to click on the first button. Now the first button is clicked, and we are enter in the first room in which the live recording of some match is happening, going on. And there is a exit button also here, which this script is testing if this exit button will move our player to the main room or not. Now the second test case will run. It will try to click on the middle one button. Now you can see we have moved to the second room in which there is a player on the screen in which we can see pre-recorded matches, and there are also four more buttons which we can test. Now when we run the third test case, the third button will be pressed, and it will check if we have moved to the third room or not. So other than checking all of these buttons and navigations, it will also check all the objects which is present in the room. For example, these walls, these images, and these chairs are visible to the user or not. And at the end, we can see that the test case has passed. All three test cases has passed. And with the robot framework, with the help of the robot framework, it will create the reports and the log files. I'll show you the log files, how it will uh, look like. So these are the log files. We can see there was a shoot, and in that there were three test cases. The green ones are all passed. So if we open that, we can see it is testing that live stream button, and we can see that yeah, live stream button and exit button is working fine. Then the second test case, if the second button was working or not. Then the third test case, if third button was working or not. Or other than that, it will also check if a user was able to see all of the object which is present in the room or not. So this is the framework we have built using Python language. Basically, this framework we have implemented in 6 projects. 4 we have already implemented, and 2 are still on talks. So that's all we want to show all of you. If there is any questions, we are open to the questions.
Hi, thank you, Rishabh. Thank you, Vaidik, for a wonderful session. It's very insightful, very energetic one. And so we have a couple of questions, Rishabh. The
Sure.
first question is, how to execute test case for VR modules.
Yeah, so we are in this application. We are using Unity editor, and inside Unity we have a tool, All Unity. So this All Unity tool will be installed in our Unity editor, and All Unity also have some open libraries, open Python libraries from which we can connect to any application which have All Unity installed in that. So we are first opening that all Unity inside our Unity editor, and then from the PyCharm we are running the connecting to the all Unity client. So that's how we are connecting to this Unity editor, and then we can run any test cases. There are some formats for running that test cases. If you are if you know about Selenium, it is similar to the Selenium. We can access all of that elements, app elements, and your audios, videos. We can access from the code as well. So that's how we are connecting, and we are working with the VR
Okay,
application.
okay. Thank you. So I have one more question. Can you suggest any test case format for VR?
Suggest any test case for VR. So basically, what we have built a application in which we can see any live stream match, or we can see any pre-recorded match, or we can order any food. So what all we have covered here is we can access all of the elements which are present inside the VR environment. We can access that. We can see if it is visible to the user or not. So that's the first case, first test case. We are seeing if all the elements are visible to the user. Then the second test case is all the buttons and navigations. If there are navigation bars, if there are any radioactive buttons or any types of buttons or any types of navigation windows here, we can also test that if it is clickable to the user or not. If after clicking we can navigate to the correct room or not. In that demo, you can see we are moving to the second room. So if we are entering in the correct room or not, we are also checking that. So these type of test cases we are having uh, in this framework. Also, any type of test cases we can cover with this automation framework.